So let's begin with Green Party of Canada, Adrian.
Hi everyone, and thanks so much for coming out. It is indeed a sunny afternoon. I really appreciate your presence here. This is democracy. People participating is democracy, and people around the world have actually put their lives on the line for democracy. And the one thing I think we can take from a lesson around the world is what happened in Egypt, where in 18 days, young people stood on the line to get democracy in their country. And no one thought change could happen. There were so many people who thought that it just wasn't going to happen, but they believed that change could happen, and it did. I want you to believe that about Vancouver Centre. Change can happen here. You have the power, just like those young people in Egypt had the power. You have the power here to make change. And what I'm sensing on the street, and I'm out there morning, noon, and night, is that there is a will and there is a desire, there's an excitement about change in this riding. I think we want change because we know we are the most fabulous city, the most liberal in the world, the greenest in Canada, but we are not livable for all. And our country is not on the right path in terms of where the whole global economy is going. We need someone who can champion the direction we all know in our hearts we need to head. I believe that I am the right person at the right time here in Vancouver Centre. I believe that I can serve as your MP to help our city become and meet its goal of becoming the greenest city in the world. There are little things that you can do as an MP, working across party lines, not caring who gets the credit, but moving forward on the issues that we know need to be tackled with firmness and resolve to keep working until we get there. I will be that MP for you. I really hope that you read our platform. Go to votecar.ca for my local platform, greenpartyofcanada.ca, and we've got copies over there. Thank you so much for coming out.
Thank you. Skipping past our Jay Clarks, who are not with us today, we come next to the candidate for the Liberal Party of Canada, Dr. Hetty Fry.
Thank you, everybody, and thanks for coming. I must tell you that we're the only riding who have debates. Very few ridings have debates, and it always, for me, is what makes Vancouver Centre so exciting. This participation of civil society where you come together, you put our feet to the fire, and you ask us the questions that you think that we should be answering. Because it's about accountability. To be here means if I ask you for your vote, I'm going to be accountable to what I say, what I do. You can ask me the questions, I will answer them up front. Because that's what accountability is about. Not to turn up means I'm taking your vote for granted, and I think you're going to vote for me anyway. And this election, Adrian is right, it's about change. It is about the loss of democracy in this country by a Prime Minister who is the first in this country, in the history of Canada, to be cited for contempt of Parliament. And not only contempt on one count, contempt on two counts. This is the first Prime Minister who has shut down Parliament twice when it tried to get him to be accountable to the members of Parliament. 66% of Canadians voted for the opposition parties combined. And Parliament and democracy means you listen to the institutions. This is a parliamentary democracy, and that is not happening. People in Libya today are standing and fighting to get the right to vote, to get the right to have a say in their governments. We find that that has been challenged in this country by a party that does not send its members of parliament or its candidates to be accountable, that continues to lie, and I use the word without any reservation, to lie to Canadians. We have heard different stories about how this budget is going to be spent. We've heard monies that people have asked for accounting for the monies. Parliament he has refused to give that information to Parliament. We've heard the Auditor General say that this Prime Minister has actually misled Parliament in what he said he was going to spend on the G8, G20. And then his members stood up in the House and quoted the Auditor General as saying what a wonderful, effective G8 it was, and she had to call CBC and say, I was talking about the G8 conference on the Jean question. So lying to the people of Canada is a slap in the face to all of us who vote and all of us who care about democracy in this country. That's what this election is about.
Thank you, Hetty. Our next candidate will be from the Marxist-Leninist Party of Canada. Please welcome Michael Hill.
running 70 candidates in this election. Our platform stands for basically two situations here. First of all, we're running on an anti-war platform. We're an anti-war party. The second issue, and this one I'd like to dwell on right here, is democratic renewal. We live in we have a democracy, so-called, that is composed of monolithic parties. You can see that in the parliaments and legislatures around the country. There's a strong sense that you see everywhere about empowerment. How often do you ever see an ordinary person become elected, an ordinary working person elected to the House of Commons or any government body in this country? Do we ever see that very often? No. As a matter of fact, virtually never. And the reason is this: we have parties that are we have a system where you have these parties that determine who the candidates are going to be. They're determined from the standpoint of virtually locking everybody out of the democratic process. It's the parties who literally call the shots. This is something we are standing to change. We want to change this whole thing, that it is the people themselves who determine who the candidates are, and there are reasons for running. Now, our party's platform is very specific. We want to ensure that this changes and that people are truly have power in their hands. And, well, let's face it, what do we have here in terms of getting anywhere? Well, quite frankly, we don't have any processes available. And we have a specific platform. I don't have enough time to get into it right now, but nevertheless, I'd be happy to bring this with any questions up about this.
Thank you, Mike. It has been asked from time to time by some people what happened to the progressive part of the progressive conservative name. Perhaps it landed here with the Progressive Canadian Party and our candidate from the Progressive Canadian Party, Michael Junfeld.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Michael Hunefeld, and I am running as a candidate in Vancouver Centre for the Progressive Canadian Party. Our party combines fiscal responsibility with socially progressive policies. We want to help small businesses and individuals by cutting taxes for small businesses and for individuals. We do not believe in large tax cuts for large corporations that have been proposed by the federal government. We understand also concerns that residents have about crime. We understand the concerns regarding homelessness. I believe also very strongly in supporting arts and culture. I regularly take dance classes at the Harbour Dance Center. I've also been very involved in film. I'm interested in independent film. And I also want to point out that I was born in the West End, and I care about this neighborhood. I would like it to see it to continue to prosper. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm just going to go on the record here and say that I've always been pro-plunder, and that's why I'm excited about introducing our next candidate from the Pirate Party of Canada, Travis McRae.
Well, thank you for the awesome intro. First, I want to start off everything by thanking WERA for the great debate structure, allowing all candidates to attend the all-candidate debate. I had attended the debate this morning, which was called an all-candidates debate, yet only had 3 candidates there that were invited. I was not allowed to participate. So having an all-candidates debate that's an all-candidates debate is great for democracy, and I appreciate it. So moving on, I want to start off by just stating this: drug patents kill people, and that's exactly it. A lot of people think pirate party, oh, those people are for downloading music. You can already download music in Canada. We've moved on past that one. Basically, drug patents are my main thing. I want to take care of people. I want to make sure that people have adequate health care. Now, we keep talking about beds in hospitals and taking care of, making more hospitals, making healthcare more accessible. But if you send somebody home and you give them a prescription for penicillin or for any other antibiotic, if they can't afford to take the medication, then it's not going to help them at all because they're still sick. And that's why we need to take care of it on all sides. And I think that my stance against intellectual property, which by the way is not abolishing patents or anything like that, it's just helping people, reducing the lengths of patents, reducing the length of copyright, and making a positive change for our culture, allowing people to engage in culture and stop embracing these old technologies. We didn't stop the invention of the car so we can keep people who make horseshoes in business. We kept going because that's what being progressive is all about. We're Canadians. So, also, we're for pulling out. I personally am for pulling out of Afghanistan. I'm for pulling out of Africa. We need to we talk about protecting our own sovereignty, yet then we go in and we start invading other nations. That's not right. That's not Canadian. If we want to protect ourselves, we need to start from here. And so we'll discuss the other issues later on in the debate. But I want to say that I am the choice. I don't vote along party lines. I vote on constituent lines because you guys are what's important.
Thank you. All candidates debate with all the candidates. It's a great concept, and I wish some of the other candidates, such as the Conservatives, would have followed up on that idea. Our final candidate to speak is from the New Democratic Party. Please welcome Karen Chillington.
Oh, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for coming out. I would like to tell you a little bit about myself. I have historic roots in the West End. My maternal grandmother had a boarding house just up the street here on Robson, and my mom and dad met there and fell in love. But it was unaffordable then too, actually, for them, so they moved away for some time. But now I'm back after 30 years in Nanaimo, and I do feel like I've come home, and I just love being here in the West End. I think it's time for a change in Ottawa, and I think it's a time for a change in Vancouver Centre. A little bit of my background. I have a diploma in fisheries and I have a degree in First Nation studies. And I would like to acknowledge that we are living on unceded Salish territory. Now, when I was in Nanaimo, I raised a daughter, very published daughter, as she has told me, and it's on my pamphlet, as a single mother. And I got involved in the anti-poverty movement. We called ourselves a coalition of groups. We weren't afraid of that word. And during that time, I became the person that you phoned if no one else could help you. I was the phone call of last resort, and I will tell you that that's when I knew what my passion was in life, was to help people get through and navigate the bureaucracy, unnecessary bureaucracy, in order to get the kind of rights that they are actually entitled to. And so I would like to say that we're going to be talking about the issues today, and that's great, but there's also the other part of the Member of Parliament, which is to be your voice. Your voice when you're having problems with the federal programs, and my goodness, there's so many: Canada Pension, EI, student loans, all these things. I've heard the stories, I've heard the horror stories of not being able to get the help you need, that you are entitled to as citizens of this great country of Canada. And so I look forward to the debate today, and thanks, and a shout out to the organizers for having everybody up here on the stage, and let's get at it.
Thank you very much.